In this video we're going to look at tables, and we're going to touch a little bit on views towards the end as well. Now your table is essentially the information here that's in your spreadsheet. So you could say you built a table of columns, and what you can do at any point is right click in the spreadsheet heading, go to add column, and there's a whole myriad of information you can call upon. For example, I could go to allocations, add an allocation column, and I can see how many people I've got working on each one of these tasks. That's fine as a one-off, but if I'm having to keep adding and removing columns based on the information I want to see at any point, or if I'm reporting on certain information or creating printouts, this could become a really tedious process. There has to be a quicker way. As it happens, yes, there is. If you go to the View tab at the top of the screen and go to the Table drop-down, you'll see that there are some example tables already in here. And as an example, I could go to Resources, go to Site Resource Entry, and you'll note that all my columns have just immediately changed to show me the resources that I'm using in my program at the moment. There are various other ones as well, so if I just click on another one, for example, predecessors and successors, and again the columns will update straight away. And there's a couple of ways that you can create these tables. One option is to go to Table, click New, and then it'll open the Table Definition Properties window here. Under the Details tab, I'm going to call it My Table. You can put it into a category or leave it sort of free floating. I'm going to just keep it on its own for now. And you're probably going to want to tick Display on Menu. What that will do is it will make it so that this table appears whenever I click the Table drop down. I then need to go to the Column Definitions tab, and we can see here that so far it's just given us a line column. If I click Add, it will give me another line column, and if I click on that one, we then get all the different categories for whatever information it is that we want to see. So for this first one, I'm going to go with identification, name. There's some more information here on the right hand side, so you could call it something different. So instead of it being called name, I could have it where it says description. There's different bits of alignment and various other bits of information as well. The width, although you can adjust this afterwards, it's probably best to do it here if you can remember to do so. Now 40 or 50 is probably okay unless you've got some very long names. Let's add another one. In this case, I'm going to use float. I want to see the total float, and this probably doesn't need to be a width of 40. This probably can just be a width of, let's say, 15. And for this example, I think that will do me. Click OK. It'll jump to my new view, and we can see I've got the description, which was my name column, and my total float. And if I click the table drop down, we can see my table down here, or I can go back to the default table, and here we are. The other way of creating a new table is to add the columns that you want to see via the right click. So right click, add column, add the columns you want, and then once you've got everything how you want it, click the table drop down and click Save As. And it will then save the table in its current state using the name you give it. Again, you can put it into a category, and then at any point you can jump to it and you can see that information. Now I mentioned that I would briefly touch on views. I will do a longer, more detailed description of how you can create views and what they're used for, but essentially in a single view you could have a table, a sort group, a filter, and various other bits of formatted information, and also histogram graphs and such. To give you a quick example of this, if I click the View drop down and go to my Resources category, I'm going to go to my Resource Entry view, and there's a few different things that have now immediately become apparent. One, the columns have changed. That is because this view is using a different table to the other view that I was looking at a minute ago. You've also got these graphs at the bottom, which again are part of my view. And as I mentioned earlier, if I wanted to, I could have filters and sort groups and all sorts of things. And then at any point, if I want to go back to my other view, I can either close this tab or just switch back to it like so and keep them both open. Thank you for watching this tutorial video.